Hello and welcome to the Module 5 study guide. We're going to be going over each question and the answers, and we're going to be showing our work on how we found our answer. So with question number 1, we're trying to write negative 9 5/6 as a decimal. So we know that our first number is going to be negative 9. Now I'm going to take my 5/6 and I'm going to divide them using long division to see what my decimal is going to be. So we're doing 5 divided by 6, like that. 6 fits into 5 0 times, so I'm going to have to add some decimal points. 6 fits into 58 times, so we have 48. 50 minus 48 is 2. Bring down the 0. 6 fits into 20 3 times. That gives me 18. 20 minus 18 is 2. Bring down the 0. 6 fits into 23 times, and it's just going to keep on repeating. So we can stop here, and we know that our answer is going to be 9.83 repeating. So when we make our selection, it's going to be this choice, because the 8 is not repeating, it is just the 3. All right, number 2, a crane at a construction site lowers a steel beam into position at a rate of 2.5 feet per second. What is the change in the height of the steel beam after 14 seconds? Really important for us to notice here that it says lowers. That's going to tell me that this is a negative answer. So right off the bat, I'm going to cross out my 2 positive choices because that's not going to be what we're going to pick. Now I'm going to take this 2 1/2 and I'm going to be multiplying it times 14. What I would recommend doing is turning 2 1/2 into an improper fraction to make the multiplication easier. So 2 1/2 as an improper fraction, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 plus 1 is 5. So my improper fraction is 5 halves. Now I can multiply 14 times 5 halves. We multiply across the tops and across the bottoms. Before I multiply though, I notice that I can reduce this 2 and this 14. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 14 divided by 2 is 7. So I can change this to be 7 over 1 times 5 over 1. And don't forget that we are lowering the steel beam, so our answer is going to be negative. Now when I multiply across the top and the bottom, I get 35 over 1. And of course that's going to be a negative because of that word lowering. So we're going to select this choice. Number 3, which expression is equivalent to negative 5 times 4? Now there's a lot of different ways you can think about this problem. The way that I see it is we need to remember that multiplication is repeated addition. If I do negative 5 times 4, the signs do not match. So my answer is going to be negative, and 5 times 4 is 20. So if I look at these options here, I should end up with a negative 20 whenever I think about what these solutions are going to be. If I add up negative 5 plus negative 5 plus negative 5 plus negative 5, all together, I'm going to have 20 negatives. If I add up negative 4, negative 4, negative 4, negative 4, all together, I'm going to have 16 negatives. If I add up all these 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. If I add up all these 4s, I get 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So our answer that we're going to select is this first one. This last one is close, but it was positive and not negative, so we're not going to pick it. Question number 4, an elevator goes through the 124th floor to the 8th floor of a skyscraper in 40 seconds. The elevator travels at a constant speed. What is the elevator's rate of change in floors per second? The first thing we need to ask ourselves is this elevator moving up or down? And if we look at the question, it's starting at the 124th floor. And it's ending up at the 8th floor. So this elevator is moving down. that tells me that this is going to be a negative solution because going down is negative. So I'm going to cross out my positive answers. I know that my answer is going to be negative. Now what I need to do is I need to figure out how far down we went. So I'm going to do 124 minus 8 to see how many floors we went down. I'm going to need to do a little bit of regrouping here. And I can see that we went down 116 floors. Now my next step is to look at 116 floors divided by 40 seconds because we're looking for floors per second. That means I'm doing floors divided by seconds. So when I do my division, floors go inside the house, seconds go outside. Now when we do this long division, we're looking at how many times does 40 go into 116. It goes in 2 times, and what's left is 80. So if I subtract these, 6 minus 0 is 6. 1, I have to carry this over, and we get 3. So we have 36. We're going to have to add a 0, bring it down. 40 goes into 36, or 369 times. So our answer here is going to be negative 2.9. Question number 5, determine whether each expression below would result in a positive or negative outcome. On this question, we need to look at how many negative signs are there. If there's an odd number of negatives, then the outcome will be negative. If there's an even number of negatives, then the outcome will be positive. This is because all of the operations here are multiplication or division. So there's no adding or subtracting happening here, so we can just count the negatives to see what our solution will be. I'm going to mark each number positive or negative. This one's positive, negative, positive. So I have 1 negative sign. This means that my amount of negative signs is odd, so my solution will be negative. Next one, I have 1 negative, 2 negative, 3 negative. So we have 3 negative signs. That's an odd number, so our solution will be negative. Last one, negative, positive, negative. That's 2 negative signs, so that's an even number. That's a positive outcome. On question number 6, we are going to evaluate the expression below. We are multiplying 2/3 times 12/5 times -1 times -7/8. Now, first things first, how many signs are negative? I have 1 positive, 2 positive, 1 negative, 2 negative. 2 is an even number, so my answer is going to be a positive number. So now when I multiply, I'm ready to just think about this in terms of no negatives involved because I know the solution will be positive. Now, when I start multiplying, our numbers are going to get pretty big if we don't employ a strategy to help us out. I'm going to go ahead and start by going left to right because that's what order of operation tells us to do. If I work left to right, I see that 3 and 12 can reduce before I even multiply. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 12 divided by 3 is 4. This is going to make my numbers less big. 2 times 4 is 8. 1 times 5 is 5. Now here's my new problem. If I multiply something times 1, it stays the same. So 8/5 times 1 is just 8/5. And now I have times 7/8. Yet again, we can reduce it before we multiply. 8 and 8, so I can divide this by 8 and divide this by 8 to make this 1/5 times 7/1. And if I multiply across the top and across the bottom, I get 7 divided by 5. And we know that our answer is positive, so that's it. 7 divided by 5. Question number 7, evaluate the expression below. 52 divided by -8. I see that we have one negative sign, so I know my answer is going to be negative because 1 is an odd number. Now I can do 52 divided by 8. 8 fits into 5 0 times. And then 8 fits into 52 6 times. 6 times 8 is 48. If I subtract that, then I end up with 4. I'm going to have to add a 0. And I bring down my 0 here. 8 fits into 40 5 times. 8 times 5 is 40. Subtract them, and I have 0 remainder. So my answer is negative 6.5. Question number 8, evaluate the expression below. We are dividing negative 36.12 divided by negative 5 3/5. First things first is we need to take a look at the signs of our numbers. We have a negative and a negative, so we're going to have a positive outcome. Let's get that out of the way. Now I'm going to make this fraction here, mixed number, into a decimal. 3/5 is the same as 0.6, so this is actually negative 5.6. And now I can divide these. I have 36.12 being divided by 5.6. Now, 5.6, we're going to treat this as 56. 56 fits into 361 6 times. 6 times 56 would give me 336. Now I can subtract these. And I'm left with 25. Bring down the 2. 56 goes into 252 4 times. And that leaves me with 224. Now I can subtract these. Now I'm going to add a 0 here, bring it down. 56 fits into 285 times, leaving no remainder. So my answer to this question is 6.45. Question number 9, evaluate the expression below. I have 2.5 times negative 3 1/4. I think it's easier to do this problem if we turn them into the same form. Right now I have a decimal form, and then I have a fraction mixed number form. So I'm going to make this number into an improper fraction. 2.5 is the same as 2 1/2. And I can turn 2 1/2 into an improper fraction by doing 2 times 2 to get 4, plus 1 to get 5, so I have 5 halves. Now I can turn this into a improper fraction by doing 4 times 3, which is 12, plus 1 to get 13. Now I'm ready to multiply 5 times 13. And then I can multiply 2 times 4. And there I have my answer. I can look at how many negative signs we have. We have a positive and we have a negative. So my answer is going to be negative. Question number 10. Deepak scored 76% on his science quiz. He missed 4 questions. What was the change in Deepak's percentage points for each question he got incorrect? First, we need to figure out how many percentage points he missed. A test has 100% possible, and he got 76% on the test. So let's do a little bit of subtraction here. So 24% is what he missed. I'm going to take that 24% and I'm going to divide it by 4. 4 fits into 24 6 times. So per question, 6%. And let's make sure we make that 6% negative because he's losing 6% per question missed. Question number 11. Alicia used her bank card to buy lunch 3 times. Each time she bought lunch, it cost her $13.95. She then deposited $30 into her bank account. What was the change in Alicia's bank account balance as a result of these transactions? So every time she bought lunch, it cost $13.95. And she bought lunch 3 times. So I'm going to multiply these. I'm going to treat this $13.95 as a negative number. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 9 is 27, but I have to add a 0 for the place value. 3 times 3 gives me 9, but I got to add 2 zeros for place value. 3 times 1 is 3, but I have to add zeros for place value. Now I can add these up. We get 5, 8, 11, 4. Now I can look at how many numbers I have after the decimal point. There's 1, 2. So that's how many places I'm going to move the decimal point in. So my answer is 41.85, and that's going to be negative. Now she then deposited $30 into her bank account. So I have negative 41.85 plus 30. These have different signs. So I'm going to keep the sign of the larger number and subtract the numbers. So let's go ahead and do that. Five minus 0, 5. 8 minus 0, 8. 1 minus 0, 1. 4 minus 3, 1. So our answer is negative 11.85. Jackson uses 57.2 gigabytes of storage on his computer to download 8 new games. Each game uses the same number of gigabytes. Write an equation to represent the change in the amount of storage on Jackson's computer in gigabytes per game. Each game uses the same amount of gigabytes. So we have our 57.2. We're going to make it negative because we are losing that amount of storage whenever we put games on our computer. To figure out how much each game is going to take up, we're going to have to divide. And we're going to be dividing by 8. So let's go ahead and set up 57.2 divided by 8. 8 fits into 5 0 times. 8 fits into 57 7 times. 8 times 7 is 56. 8 fits into 12 1 time. 1 times 8 is 8. I'm going to have to add a 0 here. 8 fits into 4, 40, 5 times. Now I have no remainder. So our answer here is going to be negative 7.15. Which statement best describes the change in the amount of available storage on Jackson's computer? The change is a positive number because he's adding memory. We know this is not true. The change is a negative number because he is adding memory. That does not make sense for this situation. The change is a positive number because he is subtracting memory. The change is a negative number because he is subtracting memory.